Today is a fantastic day because it marks the beginning and the return of Tokyo Mew Mew with Tokyo Mew Mew New. And I just had a blast of nostalgia watching this first episode. Now, while everybody was getting excited about Sailor Moon, I was over here in my own corner watching things like Shugochara, Cardcaptor Sakura, which was one of my favorites, and yes, Tokyo Mew Mew. It's kind of a show that was outside the norms of the popularity for the magical girls that just really hit me. I just love the style of it. Obviously, I like the cat girl aspect, different animal girl aspect, but really, the show itself just really captured me, and I fell in love immediately. And yes, typically with your magical girls, you'll have that sense of the romance mixed in with the characters taking on the monster of the week. But this one just kind of did it a little differently. I just felt like that romance around Ichigo and what she was kind of facing was very pure. Additionally, having a little bit of context given to kind of the center role that they open up with, which is the environment and the extinction of so many different species that ultimately grabs her. I mean, you see it with the first episode, the moment that she goes to this exhibit with Aoyama. She's going there because she has interest in him, but she immediately picks up on this desire for her to save these different animals. Honestly, what was fascinating for me as Tokyo Mew Mew New was announced was that I never knew the original writer for the manga. Unfortunately, the artist has passed away, and that kind of really hurt because it was just mere months before this entire thing was starting. But the writer themselves was actually Reiko Yoshida. And Reiko, for those who don't know, she's really huge. She, along with Naoko Yamada, made some incredible stuff with Kyoto Animation. And while Naoko Yamada kind of looks like she moved on, and the two of them aren't really working on any projects together right now, but she's still an incredible writer that has done so many amazing titles as a scriptwriter and the series composition writer. But yeah, moving on to Tokyo Mew Mew New, it's specifically this episode, I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I got hit with some massive nostalgia. Really love seeing these characters come back, and so far, Yumeta Company has done a really good job. I mean, this isn't something like, ufotable levels of animation quality here, and I don't really expect that. I just figure just a really nice polish and upgrade to a very nostalgic and very beloved Magical Girl franchise. And while unfortunately it looks like there's a lot of listings already showing this to be a single core, I really do hope this is something where they're testing the bed to see if this is something they can market again, get some merchandise out there, and possibly keep adapting it all the way into the end. Because obviously this is kind of a readaptation of something that was already done, and to not do the whole thing is a little bit disappointing. Oh, before I get too far ahead of myself, for those that are like, what the hell is a Tokyo Mew Mew? Essentially is the idea that there are these species that are becoming extinct, and because of that, there's a desire to have a group of people that can protect them. And we kind of jump to our modern times Japan, at which point we see that there's this secret organization that has crafted these new ways of infusing girls with different types of animals. So when this kind of opens up, you do have this organization trying to select girls that will then protect the earth from outside forces. So and in this case, you have Ichigo, who is our main character. She's going to school, and she's new year in high school, and everybody else around her is in love, and she just desperately wants to have romance too. So while she sees everybody's got a couple, she's desperately desiring for it. At some point, she ends up seeing this one guy that's doing kendo. His name is Aoyama. At some point, she gets very fascinated with him, and her friends are like, dude, he's way too popular, way out of your league. But they end up starting to do a lot of research to figure out how she can possibly get on a date with him. Eventually, that leads to this girl named Mint, who's already a part of that organization I mentioned earlier. She kind of sneaks these tickets to her and says, he really likes animals. You should really take him to this exhibit that is kind of covering animals that are going extinct. In which they end up going there, which kind of lines her up with these other girls that are all being selected to become these magical girls. And then they all get shot by this big beam and turns them into magical girls. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's like I said, it's kind of your standard magical girl affair. The whole selected girls to become magical girls and protect from alien forces or whatever. Honestly, one of the things that had me hesitant with this readaptation was that they announced that they were recasting all the girls. But not only that, but they actually did a call out to new voice actresses. And so that had a little bit of a hesitant for me, like, okay, we're going to bring in nothing but new and fresh voices. People that aren't established as voice actresses are going to be coming in here to do these roles. And yes, every voice actor needs their first gig, let's be honest. But typically, a lot of those people get side gigs. They get side characters that have very few roles, not main character roles. So honestly, when I seen this announced, I was like, are we going to get some really very fresh voices in there that really sound rough, but honestly, I think they did a really good job so far. Well, at least Ichigo. We haven't really heard much of the other ones except for maybe Mint, but Ichigo specifically, I think she did a really good job. All those main signature lines, she nails them. And she got the expressions in there, she got the goofy stutters, she got the flops, all that kind of stuff. The flubs were all perfectly done, and so I have to say that she did a really great job. We'll see how the other girls turn out, but so far, at least with Ichigo, I think she's doing a really great job of portraying that character. One thing that I really found kind of funny was they did a really good job on the actual transformations, which honestly, in the wake of Sailor Moon Crystal, where they decided to do whatever that was, I was really happy to see that Yamata Company put all that passion into that transformation. For those that are not really too into Magical Girls, one of the staples in Magical Girls is the transformation sequence, and they're always really well animated. So you would get like sometimes a filler episode where not much is happening on the screen and not much animation is happening, but when they get that transformation sequence, the animation is fantastic because they make it and then they use it every single episode for every transformation. So it's good that they have a really high quality transformation and not, again, that oops that happened with Sailor Moon Crystal when it first aired. But no, overall though, the entire episode was really well animated. I was really happy with, like I said, not going to crazy budget levels, but enough to give this a nice upgraded polish and a very good looking style that really brings it to the modern times, while at the same time giving it that nice, beautiful look to it, and kind of modernize the visuals. Honestly, I know there's probably going to be some people that'll be upset that they got a lot of those sharp chins, got rid of a lot of those sharp chins, but honestly, I think it's better this way. I think I love the idea of kind of more modernizing the visual style, but still having a little bit of that flavor of the old style still there. And honestly, probably the thing they're doing with this entire franchise is trying to capture a new audience, and if they keep that old style, they're not going to catch a newer audience that's more into the newer style stuff. And again, if my prediction is right, that they're only doing a single core to see if they can get that merchandising going, they're going to need to capture that new audience. And yeah, still grab the older nostalgia glasses coming into it. But either way, I was overjoyed with this first episode. I'm so glad to see Tokyo Mew Mew come back. Again, like I said, it's a beloved franchise for me. A lot of nostalgia for me. I love the characters. I'm really excited to see how it goes. Honestly, obviously, they're not going to do the entire thing currently, but I'll love to see if they can possibly help with the pacing as well. Because obviously, with these older shows, the pacing isn't quite to modern standards. It really did feel like this episode went well. It didn't seem like they really changed much, but I'll be definitely keeping an eye on this series and just geeking out on a weekly basis. I'm so glad to see that it's trending on Twitter. A lot of the feedback that a lot of the voice actresses and the studio and everybody's getting has been extremely positive, and I hope that continues, that the fandom that was around Tokyo Mew Mew kind of gathers around and just really gets the word out there of, again, a not Sailor Moon magical girl that was something that a lot of people loved, including myself. But anyways, I'm going to stop gushing and move on. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure to hit that like button down below. Comment. Definitely let me know if you are a huge fan of Tokyo Mew Mew. Are you new to this series? Are you an old fan? Do you have those nostalgia glasses like I do? I'd definitely love to hear from you guys. Additionally, if you've not already and you're new to this channel, I'd appreciate if you would hit that subscribe button so you can get all my content. I do first impressions, news, reviews. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel, we have a Patreon link down there, a tips link, and a super thanks button. I would greatly appreciate your support, and y'all take care.